In my dreams, I would just take all the cars off the road.
Transport is one of the fundamental things you need in society to connect people to each other, connect goods and services, and so it's all tied up with civilization. I'm Matt Williams. I'm a professional cycle instructor. I work for an outfit called Smart Cycle Training. To be a cycle instructor, I have to be a Department of Transport qualified instructor, but I just also happen to have a degree in European traffic engineering. And I've come to see that modern European cities need to have a lot of people on bikes. And I think that makes for a more civilised city. Norwich has always had a slight problem in that it's a city within a large rural area. I think it's improving now, but for many years Norwich has been perceived by the decision makers, who are often based right out of the county, as a place you drive to. And if you perceive Norwich like that, you want big, wide dual carriageways, lots of traffic lights to maintain your progress, and lots of places to park. If, on the other hand, you live in Norwich, you perceive it as a place you live, so you want a clean environment, fresh air, lots of greenery, and a bit of quiet. So there's that kind of conflict. I think most of the people who still have this utopian vision of Norwich as a motor city, almost like a miniature Dallas, realise it ain't going to happen, but a certain amount of damage has been done. So there are some fairly fearful roads in the city. It's a classic story of individualism working against the common good.
When I started out cycling years ago, everybody just thought it was a crackpot thing to do. You felt you were fighting your corner with every authority and business. My name's Lucy Hall, and I'm the founder and director of Bicycle Links. They're not easy companions, big lumps of metal that go at 60 miles an hour and flesh on a thing with two wheels. The problem is, I think, that if you have any kind of incident, the cyclist gets off worse, and is therefore you're much more upset by a close overtake than the driver would be, and the driver can't understand the kind of level of anger. You're angry because someone's put your life in danger. And of course that transfers to pedestrians, that pedestrians feel the same way about cyclists. If they get sort of somebody sweep past them really close, they feel that it's putting their life in danger. We do have to have a hierarchy where you have the most vulnerable are given the most help, and car drivers are the least vulnerable, really. So we need to see that hierarchy in practice. But we also need to get a bit more tolerant, and it's difficult because everybody wants to get from A to B as quickly as possible.
I think the cyclist, it can be dangerous to, associate with the cars, because there are two lights on two wheels, and if slightest things happen, they'll be just out of the way. It can be dangerous. I think that they shouldn't be actually associating with the heavy vehicles. They should have a completely separate route for cycling.
I've actually only had one accident in 40 years of cycling. You have to swerve to avoid a driver doing something. You feel that you've had to take avoiding action for their stupidity.
I'm an advanced driver, I've been driving over 30 years, so I'm a careful and safe driver. That's why I'm still here. The thing should be our responsibility to watch out what's on the road, rather than they should be participants as well as everyone else using the road. Because also the fact they're not licensed, so there can be any random person who totally unaware of the fact of the rules and regulations on the road. That could be anybody, and that's dangerous, I think. And they're not insured, so if they get run over or if they scratches your car, it's tough luck. It's your fault or your problem.
Somebody very close to me in my family was actually killed in a bike accident, and it was fully investigated at the time. The driver, it was actually on the outskirts of the city, and the driver was under the influence of alcohol and driving 80 miles an hour. So the particular person, riding a bike was a key part of their lifestyle, and it just seemed so unfair, really, because they knew nothing about it. I was pretty angry about that, but I felt that there was a much better, more constructive way of dealing with this than just shouting at drivers.
There's a lot of cycle roads, and I don't see any cycle uses this road, but they spend millions of pounds here for some reason. And so is the other part of the city, you know, just, I don't know what they're trying to achieve. I don't know.
Investment in cycle training pays far more dividends than similar amounts of money invested in cycle infrastructure. Putting cycle infrastructure doesn't make people use it. We've always been a cycling city. And I think it's going to grow. So it's going to grow either because of what the planners do or despite what they do. And it's going to grow in whatever happens. I think the key issue for me is that going to be done in a kind of civilised and controlled and regulated way, or is it going to be a free-for-all, a sort of jungle? Here, most things designed in this country for cycling are so substandard as to be unusable a lot of the time, or at least dangerous. Mercifully, we are not obliged to use cycle facilities if they exist, only if they are useful. I fear for the time when these off-road paths are built and then a law comes in which says if there's an off-road path you're not allowed to ride on the road, because that has actually been the underlying motivation for a long time, is to build cycle facilities to get the bicycles out of the way of the real traffic. And that is a very retrograde step, because bicycles are real traffic.